Most of the rest of the world eats fish on the bone. They cook it on the bone, they eat it on the bone. It's part of the dining experience to suck the meat off the bones, off the head, behind the cheeks. Getting messy eating fish is not a problem for most of the rest of the world. In the US, we're lazy, we're squeamish, I don't know what it is, but it's really hard to sell fresh fish on the bone in the United States. A Vietnamese colleague of mine who has a bunch of restaurants down in Manhattan was running up against this problem, and he couldn't serve a whole fried fish that he wanted to serve. So he deconstructed the fish and figured out a way to present it in the style that was comfortable for him from a Vietnamese perspective, but comfortable for his American customers to eat. I've figured out that that works cross-culturally as well, so I want to show you how we're going to do this trout Korean style. It's supposedly fried whole, but we're going to use this friend of mine's approach for presentation, and it will sell rather than not. Now, it's really important that you know how to do this, you pay attention to the details of this, so that you end up with the fish intact the way it ought to be for the presentation. Grabbing the fin behind the gill and cutting behind the gill to the spinal cord. It's important to keep this gill fin on. Turn the knife and just straight cut down the spine, leaving the spine intact. You want to try not to cut through the backbone. Remove the fillet. Flip it over, do the same thing on the other side. Cut behind the gill, leaving the fin intact. Turn the knife, straight cut down the spine. Again, don't cut through the spine, you want that to be intact. You already know how to do this, but I'll just do it really quickly for a refresher. Remove the belly bones. Remove the fins and any pin bones around the fins. Take your fish tweezers and remove the pin bones. Check to make sure you remove all the pin bones. And then for this presentation, we're going to cut the fillets into chunks, about an inch square, maybe an inch and a half. 2 fillets will equal 1 portion. Put them immediately into cups, and then you put the cups into the pan on ice. That's going to leave you with the carcass. Now this is the interesting part. Taking a bamboo skewer, a chopstick will work with a larger fish, but the bamboo skewers are necessary for something small and delicate like trout. And thread the carcass onto the skewer. You're going to see in a second why leaving those fins on is important. What we're going to do is dip the carcass into flour, then into egg, and then back into flour. Set it in a fry basket, drop it down, and deep fry it. It will maintain this shape. It will stand up on a plate. You do this part ahead of service. You line up your fried carcasses on a sheet tray, keep it above the line on your station. Then when you get an order, you take a cup of the fish chunks, bread them, fry them, drain them. While they're cooking, you arrange the previously fried carcass of fish on an oval platter, put sauce down below. When the fried pieces of filet come out, you reconstruct the fish. You sprinkle the garnish across the top, which in this case is going to be julienne of bell pepper, nori seaweed, scallion, some omelets made from eggs, and some sesame seed. And you're going to have this confetti-like garnish on top of this entire fish that gives the presentation of a whole fish with the convenience of eating boneless pieces of filet. And you take a fish that would typically not sell to an American audience and make it something that's dramatic and exciting and appealing and convenient, and you go from 0 to 60 sales overnight. So it's